Words of Pinhead from Hellraiser 3. Shall we begin? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on this video, and I just got back from seeing Conjuring Last Rites. So here is my personal opinion / review. Here's my review of the movie. Overall, I thought that the movie was this better than, I know a lot of people are going to ask, is this movie better than Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It? Yes, it is. However, that still isn't really saying much. This movie still doesn't quite reach the highs of the first two Conjuring movies or even some of the spin-offs. Starting off, of course, with my positives. Of course, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, of course, did an excellent job once again as Ed and Lorraine Warren. And for the most part, the movie really does focus in on them pretty much, and pretty much brings up pretty much all of their different cases and whatnot that they've been through throughout this franchise. And it even focuses in a little bit on their daughter as well, Judy Warren, and her boyfriend. And her boyfriend, Tony. And so, and it really does bring the main line of Conjuring movies pretty much full circle by the end. And so, yeah, if this is in fact Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga's final performances at Ed and Lorraine Warren, which I don't know if that it is. They might return possibly in the Conjuring TV series that's coming out soon. However, if this is in fact the end for the Warrens, I thought that the movie did a good job of closing their story out pretty damn well. And of course, the case that they're doing in this movie is, of course, obviously the real life Smurl family case, and yeah, that case was pretty damn horrific. Now again, I don't really follow like true crime stuff, so I never really looked up the actual Smurl family case, but like the way that they depicted it in the movie was still really good. Plus literally after the ending of the movie, it literally does show snippets of the actual Smurl family case, and so that was pretty neat and interesting. And of course, the Smurl family as a whole, I mean, yeah, their performances were all really damn good. The actors and actresses that, of course, played the Smurl family pretty much, they did a really good job. And the horror in here, while there's not really a ton, and don't worry, I will get into that. The horror that we do get in here it's still, somewhat still pretty much effective. Like, the movie doesn't just... Like, of course, the opening of the movie where it literally shows takes you all the way back to, like, the 1960s, and Judy Warren is literally pretty much born. Like, that whole opening scene pretty much obviously sets the stage for the movie, and obviously pretty much hits you home if you are a parent, because because yeah, that opening, man, just wow, just what a great way to start the movie off. And honestly, the actor and actress that played the young Ed and Lorraine Warren in that flashback scene, um, did a um, they did a good job. That you know what, if we are get that you know what for this upcoming Conjuring prequel movie that we're getting, I think that it would be a good idea, obviously, to get the same actor and actress that played the younger version of Ed and Lorraine Warren in this flashback opening sequence to pretty much um obviously play them in the to obviously play them in the prequel movie. So yeah, again, while this is better than Conjuring 3 The Devil Made Me Do It, it's still not saying much. So now moving on to the negatives. The horror in this movie is barely existent. Like it is like barely non-existent in this movie. Now again, it's not non-existent because the horror is still there, but like the horror scenes are very sprinkled in lightly throughout the movie, and like it kind of does feel like more of a family drama. And while yes, it's a good thing that this movie pretty much obviously does focus in on the Warrens throughout, because obviously this is the it kind of does it kind of does start to like drag a little bit here in the in the middle portion of the movie. And like I said, the horror is non-existent until you get almost like an almost barely non-existent until you get to the third act, because yeah, all the horror stuff, that third act, that's another positive that I forgot to mention. But yeah, that third act, you are on the edge of your seat. You are constantly biting your nails about wondering what's going to happen, who's going to survive this, who's going to make it out of here alive. Like you should feel pretty much, especially again, if this is in fact the end of the franchise. But still, though, the horror that you pretty much get throughout chunks of the movie, I thought was really just again kind of barely even there throughout the first two acts of the movie. Again, it's still there, still effective scenes when you do get the horror elements, but it kind of felt more like a family drama movie. And speaking of which, the Smurl family as a whole, like, while yes, they are again the Smurl family as a whole, while yes, they are pretty much they pretty much are in throughout most of the movie, yeah, but their presence kind of doesn't feel like that big or that really, like important as previous families in this franchise that the Warrens have had to. Like it literally doesn't like like I understand the fact that obviously the movie wanted to focus in on Ed and Lorraine Warren, obviously, because they're the main stars that we follow in this franchise, and they're the ones that we watch for the mainline entries in the Conjuring movies. But still, I could have used a little bit more of like the Smurl family and like they're like dynamic with each other and whatnot. Like the Warrens literally don't even show up to their house until the third act. Whereas if you look at the other Conjuring movies, mainly the first two in the franchise, it doesn't take that long for the Warrens to show up at the family's houses. So yeah, I thought that was a little bit kind of awkward as well. So I mean, again, is this better than Conjuring 3 The Devil Made Me Do It? Yes, it definitely is better than Conjuring 3, that's for sure. However, it's still not doesn't quite reach the highs of the first two movies or some of the spin-off movies like Annabelle Creation or The Nun 2. And so yeah. But I would still recommend it if you're a fan of the war, if you're a fan of Ed and Lorraine Warren as characters. Again, Again, I've never really followed any other real life, like what the real life Ed and Lorraine Warren is like or anything like that. But if you're a fan of the characters in the Conjuring franchise, of course, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, you are still going to be satisfied with where their story closes out. Again, if this is in fact the end, who knows? Eh, judging obviously by the ass loads amount of money the movie made over these last few weekends, yeah, the Conjuring franchise is here to stay, and who knows? They might bring back Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. So, yeah, it's never the end. It's never the end. And the haunted entities themselves, like I didn't really feel like they didn't really feel that threatening in this movie. Like they didn't really feel that threatening. Like the mainline entity that they're supposed to be like fighting off against is literally a haunted mirror, and I'm like, really? You're fighting off a haunted mirror? This is your big climax? Like, really? And yeah, despite their first solo movies, you could see why at least, Annabelle in that one short little scene at the opening of the original Conjuring movie was creepy. You could see why The Nun 2, no, I mean, not The Nun 2, The Nun in The Conjuring 2 was really creepy and scary, and you can understand why those characters got spin-off solo movies, but despite how badly their first entries are. But but like with this movie, there's no memorable entity, there's no memorable spirit. Like, and that's a big disappointment. Like, I mean, how some of the entities in damn Annabelle Comes Home were more memorable than the entities in this movie, like the werewolf or the fairy demon. So yeah, that's another really big disappointment as well with this movie is that no new iconic entity spirit pretty much. But again though, as I said though, I would still recommend the movie as a whole. I mean, if you're a fan of Ed and Lorraine Warren as characters, and you will be satisfied with where they leave you off with their storyline. But yeah, overall though, the movie gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Again, better than The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, but still doesn't reach the high highs of the first two movies or even some of the spin-off movies in this franchise. Let me know what you guys thought about Conjuring Last Rites if you guys got around to seeing it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe as always for more videos. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you guys get notified whenever I upload brand new videos. With that, I will be seeing you guys later. Peace out.